Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ustad, some individuals claim that teaching the Muslims Tawheed hampers benefiting the people in a climate where there is divisiveness and many are leaving Islam altogether, and that faith should be strengthened through the education of Salah, Som, Adab, etc. Is it correct to prioritize other matters before Tawheed when calling fellow Muslims to practice Islam today? And what advice can be given to such people? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This question needs an entire lecture in itself. An entire lecture. And we say in brief that calling the people to Tawheed doesn't hinder them from benefiting. Calling people to Tawheed does not separate and split and divide. Calling people to Tawheed only brings benefit, only brings unity, only brings love, only brings success and prosperity in this life and in the hereafter. But with the condition is that what you're calling to is actual Tawheed. What you're calling to is actually the Tawheed that Allah sent down, that Allah revealed, that Allah has spoken to us regarding. As far as something that is foreign or alien, or something that is tainted or a mixture, it's a blend. 80% orthodox, authentic Tawheed, 20% from this sheikh, from this scholar, from this country, from this political regime, then that's a different story. That could possibly split Muslims up. That could possibly cause division. That could possibly hinder people from benefiting. That could possibly be a lack of prioritizing. Next point is the concept of calling to Tawheed and only speaking about Tawheed. Two different issues. Starting off with Tawheed and only speaking on Tawheed, that's another different issue. And there are many du'at, scholars, students of knowledge who make this critical blunder. They make this critical blunder. Starting off with Tawheed لِيَكُنْ أَوَّلْ مَا تَدْعُوهُمْ إِلَيْهِ does not mean that that's the only thing that you talk about. And the hadith of Mu'adh teaches us so clearly, so beautifully. Once they obey you in that, they say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, then he mentions something else. Salah, zakah. And look how beautiful the hadith is. He then went on to talk about rights, social issues. Do not oppress them. Do not wrong them with regards to money, economics, finances, marriage, divorce, things that people need. وَإِيَّاكَ وَكَرَائِمَ أَمْوَالِهِمْ. He says, beware of taking the valuable things that they have. وَاتَّقِ دَعْوَةَ الْمَظْلُومِ. And stay far away from the oppressed, or the one who's been oppressed, him praying against you. Look at how beautiful the hadith is. Hadith teaches us to start off with something and then to gradually, progressively move on and teach the Muslims, the non-Muslims, educate them, give da'wah to things that they need. So we have many extreme people with regards to this. Those who say that the only thing they want to talk about is Tawheed. And as I said before, many times they're not even talking about Tawheed that Allah sent down. Or they may talk about, they say Aqidah, quote unquote. And what is Aqidah? Aqidah is not just one aspect. It's many things. Anything you have to believe in is considered to be Aqidah. Talking about the Malaika is Aqidah. The life in the grave is Aqidah. Allah's sifat is Aqidah. Iman is Aqidah. The Sahaba is Aqidah. And not just one concept or one book over and over and over and over and over again. So that's wrong, and that's wrong. Let alone the fact that just because you start off with it does not mean that that's the only thing that you talk about. Let alone the fact that the concept of, and I'm going to say this openly, hopefully no one will get upset or offended or feel disrespected, but using every text that is about the mushrikeen and the kuffar to apply to the Muslims is also, I feel, scientifically wrong. The Prophet, he sent Mu'adh to Ahlul Kitab. They were not Muslims who already said La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Allah talks about Hud and Salih. Allah talks about Shu'aib and this prophet and that prophet. مَا لَكُم مِّن إِلَهٍ غَيْرُهُ. You have no other ilah but Allah. Those people were not Muslims. They were making shirk and kufr. So, and I'm not saying that there is no generality between this. Muslims who have bad aqidah, clear. Muslims who don't properly understand La ilaha illallah, that's clear. That's not what we're discussing. But using every single ayah about the kuffar and the mushrikeen and saying that it is a carbon copy, 101% fit to the Muslims, I feel is wrong. So if you go to a masjid for the first time and the Muslims are not practicing what they're supposed to practice, whatever it may be, sins, bid'ah, cultural Islam, whatever the case may be, one may say the very first thing that I have to talk about is Tawheed, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, and Aqidah. I have to do this book of this Imam and this person and that one in this country. Or another student of knowledge, he may say, the very first thing that I have to do when I go to this masjid is to talk about Islamic awareness. It's to get the Muslims to understand that you have to learn. Knowledge is beautiful. Knowledge is sweet. Knowledge is mandatory. Knowledge is obligatory. And once I get them to be aware of knowledge, that there's a thing called cultural Islam, political Islam, there's a modern American Islam. But when I get them to understand that there's a real Islam, and knowledge is the only way of getting to know this real Islam, there lies no doubt I have broken the ice. And everything that comes after that is going to be relatively easier. Let's talk about Aqidah, Asma wa Sifat. Let's talk about Al-Mas'al al-Khuffain, wearing the beard, the pants above the ankles, the hijab, the niqab. It's easy now because I have them mentally aware, mentally prepared. I have them mentally in the gear. Talab al-ilm faridatun ala kulli Muslim. Seeking knowledge is mandatory upon every single Muslim. So we have to be real and we have to be objective. Another very important point is, with some students of knowledge, they make the mistake of bashing people the first time they go to them, criticizing them, critiquing them, scorning them, looking down upon them. And most of the issues that they talk about on the first time is mas'al khilafiyya aslan. It's issues of khilaf, in which they come from a country in which the madhab states otherwise. So you're calling them against the little Islam that they do have. And there's major khilaf in that issue, not saying that it's the right opinion or not. The very first thing you have to do as a student of knowledge, number one, is you must win the following things from the people. And if you don't do this, you're wasting your time. You have to win their respect, that you're qualified, that you're learned, that you're knowledgeable. You have to win their trust, is that you're an honest and equitable type of man. You have this integrity, that you're not going to lie to them. And you're going to connect them with the original sources of Islam. Thirdly, you have to win their love. They have to love you. I like this guy. We love the way he talks. Once they love you, they're comfortable with you, wallahi, they will eat out of your hand. They'll take whatever you have to feed them. They may not follow it instantly because you don't follow everything. How long have you been Muslim? You're not perfect. So that's an extreme thing in itself, that the Muslims have to follow it the very first time I go there, and if they don't do it, I'm not going back to do khutbah. That's extreme, and that's not from Allah and His Messenger. But the fact of them accepting the theory of your kalam is only going to come from respect, trust, and love. If you don't have those three tiers, you're going to be wasting your time trying to call these people to something. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. As far as educating the Muslims through Sawm, through Salah, through Adab, these things are all manifestations of Tawheed. Why do you pray except for Tawheed? Why do you fast except for Tawheed? Why do you have to have good Adab and Akhlaq except for Tawheed? As Ibn Qayyim has explained, and we've spoken on this before, that the Quran, all of the Quran is about Tawheed one way or another. But it does not mean that you leave the people ignorant and you not teach them and talk to them about fiqh. It does not mean that you don't talk to them about akhlaq and adab. Rather, it does not mean that you leave the Muslims dumb and stupid and ignorant when it comes to political awareness. Okay, there's some people who say Fulan is a politician. Fulan talks about politics. Fulan's dawah is nothing but politics. So on and so on and so on and so forth. And then other Muslims, every time they talk, politics, voting, who's in charge, who's the senator, who's the president, Democrat, Republic, this and that. Politics, 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 politics. And then there's some people that are in the middle that say that Islam is not just a religion. It's a way of life. The common question is, the black, the white, the yellow, the red, from the east to the west, is there a place in which there is not politics? Politics is a vital and integral part of life, like this thing here. It's a fabric. There is a leader and there's someone who is led. There is a body of government, a form of government. There is a system. Politics is life. So how can you say that Islam has nothing to do with politics? There's no politics in Islam. And then you say Islam is a complete way of life. That doesn't make any sense. That makes no sense. So the concept of the Islamic politics, the worldly politics, and the Muslims not being involved in it, every single person but being aware and not keeping the Muslims deaf, dumb, and blind and telling them whatever you want to tell them. Something is critical, something is pertinent in their daily lives. You say, we want to talk today about adab. This is what the khutbah is going to be about. Something that has nothing to do with their daily lives. Nothing to do with what's going to happen to them. That's not realistic. And I don't want to go too deep. I don't want to scare anybody with regards to bad elements. Bad elements. People that have made things and created things and made dawahs and fabricated understandings of Quran and Sunnah to keep the people like sheep. To steer them to the left, steer them to the right, keep them in the middle, don't move. We don't want to go too deep. But it's something that you have to be aware of this. Politics and political regimes, governments, what's going to stop them from creating an understanding, from buying a scholar and making him give the tafsir and the Tawheed how they want it to be, which suits their agenda? That's sad, but it is a reality. It's one thing if it's in the Middle East or the Far East. What does the politics of the Middle East and this country have to do with you in Canada or the UK or America? You have to talk about this. You have to take this position. That's foolishness. These are the things that split the people up, that divide the people, that hamper the people from benefiting. As far as what Allah said, what His Rasul said, then that only brings khair. It only brings rahmah. It only brings the people together. As Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman radiallahu ta'ala anhu and others from the Sahaba said, Allah brought us this khair. Allah brought us this good. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. May Allah give us the success to be wise, to be smart, and to be balanced, and to have the necessary courage to say what must be said and do what must be done. And Allah knows best.